Hello Changineers and welcome back to another game making tutorial. In today's video we'll be recreating the 1976 arcade classic Breakout. On the screen now you can see that we have already instantiated our panel and our ball through the game plan instead of the map. We will continue this with the last set of objects we want to instantiate, the blocks at the top, which I will be using sapphires. So instead of having to copy and paste a bunch of H, copy and paste that all down this, to make a block of sapphires, I would rather just say up here, there are, let's say, 40 sapphires at the top of the screen. I'm going to execute this. This isn't what I want it to look like. I want it to be a nice, tight lines and rows. So what we can do is we can edit this line by saying there are 40 sapphires aligned 4 by 10 at the top. In this phrasing here, 4 by 10 implies it will be 4 rows of 10 sapphires. So we can run that real quick and see it does that exactly. So now we have our ball, our paddle, and our blocks. Now we do have this little glitch where our ball will sometimes spawn above our sapphires because the term "there is a ball in the center" is a little vague. However, once the game starts playing, it actually won't matter that much. So we're going to continue with this, and then we can experiment later to see if we can maybe solve this glitch or turn it into a feature even. So now that we have our ball, paddle, and blocks on the screen, we can continue starting to create the game. First things first, we're going to start with character. So I'm going to make our paddle be able not to move up and down, but just left and right. So when the left arrow is pressed, the brick moves left. And then I'm just gonna do this little trick to do this real quick. We'll copy paste. And now our brick moves back and forth. Perfect. So now that the brick moves, we also need the ball to move. The ball is going to go up towards the blocks, and then it should ricochet against the blocks, come back down towards our paddle, which can intercept it, and then send it back up towards them. And then we're kind of playing a little bit of paddleball here. So let's get the ball moving. The ball starts moving up. And if we were to execute this and run it, wouldn't you know it, there it goes. So now that we got our paddle moving and our ball moving off to the very top of the screen and it's gone now, we need to make the ball start bouncing. So we can go from character down to plot. This is where the actions and reactions are. And we can say when the ball touches a sapphire, the ball bounces. And we'll get to have ourselves here and say when the ball touches a brick, our paddle, the ball bounces as well. Now this should work. Our ball can bounce from the sapphires back down to us and vice versa. So what we can do real quick, we can do this. And can actually see that the ball went out at an angle, and we can explore that and why that happened later based off of the angle at which the ball touches the paddle. But as you can see real quick, the ball has once again flown off because it's not just enough to have the sapphires and the paddle bouncy. We also need to make the borders bouncy. So when the ball touches a border, the ball bounces. I should have done this in the first step, but that's all right. And we can also see this glitch is already starting to come into effect, but this won't really be a glitch when we get to the actual breakout part of Breakout, which is having this ball destroy these sapphires whenever it touches it. So we can do real quick. When the ball touches a sapphire, the sapphire explodes. Now we can have these in the same sentence. These the first sentence here with the sapphire and the sapphire exploding sentence. I'll put these next to each other, but in fact we are able to just say the ball bounces and the sapphire explodes. So if we were to try this now, it works exactly how we want it to. And then if we were to execute it again with this new code, it still works. Perfect. So now the ball comes down to our paddle after ricocheting into a sapphire. Now it's going to go ricochet into another sapphire. Then it's going to come down here and ricochet into the border. All right, so now our ball is bouncing and destroying blocks. However, it does not really matter if it touches the bottom border, which is bad, because right now this more resembles a bouncing DVD logo. And while I do love this, this is riveting to me. This is not a game. This is a toy at best, but it is not a game. Amazing, but not a game. So, to turn this into a game and no longer a DVD logo, what we're going to want to do is make win-loss conditions, our resolutions. Simple enough. When the ball touches the bottom border, and this distinguishes between bottom, left, right, and top, game over. So now, if we were to let the ball come down, and I were to try my hardest to stop it, but oh no, I'm not good enough. Game over. Now, this is also very, very slow, so this is not a challenge. So we're going to change that super duper quick over in character by simply changing the speed of both the ball. Well, first let's change the speed of the ball. The speed of the ball is, assuming it's right now, it's moving at 1. We can call this 1 speed. Let's say the speed is 4. 4 sounds nice. So if we were to do that real quick, much better. And I can't even stop it. So we also need to increase the speed of the paddle. And we'll do the exact same speed. We'll have the speed of the paddle move at the same speed as the ball. And let's see if this makes a little bit more compelling of a game. And I would say it does. It's bouncing back and forth a lot more. It feels like there's a little bit more speed and momentum to it. And even there, the paddle wasn't... Oh, you know what's funny? I said the speed of the paddle. It's the speed of the brick. You can't forget that these are all representations of things. I kept calling this the ball, these the blocks, and this the paddle. In reality, this is the ball, this is the brick, and these are the sapphires. That was a little silly moment from me, but if we were to do this now, much better. Okay, still too fast for me, but if we were to try it again, I just have to have better reflexes. I bet you guys will have much better than mine, but now we can see the game is much more fair, much more fun, much more fast. Not as much a DVD logo as last time, and it's working wonderfully. So all we have is just a couple of finishing touches we're going to want to do. So first things first, we're going to want to give this game a win condition, assuming that I destroyed all 40 blocks, which I can tell you, I tried, is not the easiest thing to do. I recommend trying it. It's very fun, but you're going to have to take my word for it when I say when all of the sapphires are destroyed, you win. Now, we're not going to be able to test this one immediately, because like I just said, I'm not going to be able to destroy all of the sapphires. I'm just not that good. One last thing I want to fix is situations like this, where when the ball is randomly placed into the map, it is randomly placed inside of the sapphires. Now, this is not that big of a deal. It breaks itself out pretty quickly and gets itself back down to the paddle. However, as you can see, it's kind of defeating the point of the game. Now most of the blocks are gone, so then when I'm doing this, you know, it's half a map. So just to get the ball down into this space while still keeping these two lines of the 40 sapphires aligned and the ball in the center, or the brick in the bottom center, we're going to use the map just this once. We're going to want to go down to about 3/4 of the map. So since this is a 20 by 20 square, we can go to 10, and then I'd say this is about 15, and then we can say the middle about here is 10. So you can see here we have rows and columns. It's a little hard to see, but you can see I go down to row 13, because again, we have our brick down here. We'd say this is about 17, 18. We'll go down to row 13. And we're going to cut out into the middle of the map and place our ball there. And then we don't need this line anymore for the ball in the center. So let's try this real quick. Now, every time, the ball is going to spawn there. And we don't have to worry about the ball being in the middle of the bricks, but we also still want to keep the bricks placed like this and not use the map, just because it saves time. So, there we go. We have now created Breakout in GameChangineer. I really encourage you guys to go back into this demo and experiment around with the speed of the ball, the speed of the paddle, even the blocks, and possibly even their arrangement. I'd love to come back to this game in a future video, and maybe we can come up with some new ideas to make this game more interactive and much more unique in our own. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one.